You're good. Okay, all right, we're gonna call to order. Okay, roll call.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette. Here. Dr. DeGuzman. Here. Ms. DeWitt. Here. Mr. Adamson.
Here.
Mr. Griffith.
Here.
Okay, so we have a quorum. Okay. So our next item is addition and adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or modifications? So if I have a motion to, and a second for the adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? I have a voice vote for all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. So approval of the last meeting minutes from September the 18th. We received those and everybody had an opportunity to look at those. Are there any addition or modifications to the minutes? I have a motion and a second to adopt the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, it's been moved and second. Can we have a vote for all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Approve the minutes and all opposed, same sign. Okay, good, motion carried. All right, so we've moved to public comments, but we'll defer until we get to the variance. Okay. On old business, Ms. Zibby.
Thank you. So tonight is the third reading of our environmental health fees, proposed environmental health fees as presented at the August 21st meeting. I believe our next, I'm just going to jump to the next agenda item, which is the adoption of those fees. So tonight we're just asking you to adopt the fees as presented at that August 21st meeting. And if you do, they will be placed in the newspaper for notice and the fees will become effective as of December 1st.
Okay, so we are asking for a motion and a second to adopt the 2026 environmental health fees.
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion? Okay. Yes, Hackathorn?
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Adamson,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette.
Yes.
Dr. DeGuzman.
Yes.
Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Ms. DeWitt. Yes.
Okay, motion has carried. All right, we have a sewage variance.
So actually, just this week, that was abated, so they fixed their aerator, so we do not need to do anything with that one.
Okay, so that's the sewage nuisance or the variance?
Nuisance.
The nuisance, okay. All right, so we have a sewage variance request before us.
All right, so it's me again. The property's at 12811 East National Road. This property is requesting a sewage variance from the Ohio Administrative Code. The requirement to use soil absorption as the means for final treatment. This is for a replacement septic system. So code requires that soil absorption be used as the final treatment, except when it cannot meet the requirements of the code. And in this situation, a spray irrigation system was proposed out in a wooded area of the lot. And in this situation, the property owners are requesting to allow a discharging system versus a soil absorption system. And these are the property owners that are here, so I'll let them come up and.
Ms. Trish? Okay,
Do I have to come here? Can I just? It's fine.
we'll turn and look that way. Okay.
I wrote everything down so I wouldn't forget
Okay.
points, but hopefully I don't just bulldoze through it. So our family relocated to Ohio in August of 23 when Mr. Lucero was transferred to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base from Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, 1,400 miles across the nation. While living in base housing for 15 months, we extensively searched for a home with land that would allow our daughter's dream of owning fainting goats to become a reality. And we quickly learned that many counties and townships here require 10 acres, something well beyond our means. Enter Clark County, the home of 4-H, and the property we now call our home on the historic National Road. With both the county and the township allowing livestock, it felt like a win for everyone. Since purchasing our property, we've become a bit of a mini farm of sorts. We have a small flock of chickens and a herd of fainters that call our place home, along with our family of 5. Unfortunately, in July, we had an issue with the septic leach field, which required us to have our tank pumped and a crew called out for further investigation. And after digging, it was determined that the leach field was not sufficient for a family of 5 or for a home of the size. This started the process of finding a soil scientist, a designer, and septic system installers familiar with our situation. Because our historic home is situated on a high point of the land, a suitable area has been very difficult to find for a replacement system. Only one area has been determined to meet soil requirements, so one soil sample, which is found on the wooded portion of our land. The soil scientist and the designer informed us that there were no other options available except a spray system. With this recommended system, only known to exist on about 12 properties in the county of the 37,000 plus homes, not including rentals, while preferred, is not a viable option for our farm. So to install a spray system would mean that our goats would no longer be able to use the area for foraging, decreasing both the quality and the quantity of the food available to our herd. And goats cannot be on wet soil because of potentials for foot rot, hoof scald, among other things, so their grazing would therefore have to be limited. Additionally, the OAC states that spray systems in particular, have to be situated in areas without vegetation, and they cannot be used in areas in production of food for human consumption. So I would say it's kind of clear a spray system shouldn't be used. Additionally, we'd like to note that our property has a natural waterway path that flows from the farmer's land onto ours, then back into the farmer's swale. So please consider allowing us to install an aerobic discharging system in the same area our current system is in that would follow that natural water path. We have the support of both the farmer, Mr. Larry Mullins himself, in addition to the support of Harmony Township trustees who have been in contact with Zippy. Thank you to each of you for your time in considering our variance request. As a multi-state licensed registered nurse and a former employee of the New Mexico Department of Health, I understand firsthand the importance of the work that each of you do to promote health and prevent disease. And because the water being discharged is clean, I am certain there are no risks to humans, animals, or crops with this option. Thanks for considering our option.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. Do you have any questions?
So we were gonna, my daughter was gonna speak and I was gonna speak as well, so that's okay.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of my animals. My name is Jara. Now, the ones who will debatably be most affected by the spray system are my goats. My goats' names are Biscuits, Gravy, and Honey. Biscuits is almost 8 months old, while Gravy and Honey are 7 months old. My goats love to explore and eat anything that tastes delectable to them. Goats are susceptible to foot rot. Foot rot is a nasty disease that is caused by 2 bacteria. These bacteria are found in wet soil, which will be present at the septic spray site due to the moisture, humidity, and the fact that the spot will not often see sunlight. If not treated properly and or not caught in time, foot rot can lead to sepsis, a life-threatening condition. Sepsis occurs when the infection spreads into the bloodstream, causing organ failure and death. Also, in the case that a part of the spray system unknowingly fails or breaks, my goats and I would be exposed to human waste, which, as you all know, is deadly. Baby goats don't know the difference between clean drinking water and a puddle of deadly waste. I'd like to say that nothing is more traumatic for a child or teenager than having their very first beloved goats get sick or die to foot rot or another disease that could be easily prevented. When I lived in New Mexico, I always dreamed of having farm animals, especially fainting goats. I'd imagine how fun it would be to play with them, pet them, and of course, watch them faint. When I learned that we were moving to Ohio and could potentially own animals, I was so excited. I can't tell you how many times a day I thought about goats and what their names would be and when I would get them and what they would look like and so on. From the time we moved to Ohio, it took nearly 2 years to finally get goats. I'm so grateful that my parents let my sister and I get animals and that they picked a house and property where we could have goats. While I don't fully understand all the details of this, I do understand that we need a new septic tank system and that this spray system seems like the only option. But the best option for my goats and for my family is not this spray system. After all, we live in Clark County, the home of 4-H. Clark County seems like it should be all about animals and teaching children about the well-being of their animals. The well-being of my animals would be at risk from this potentially unhealthy environment. So at the end of the day, isn't Clark County trying to give the best possible quality of life to goats and humans? Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think it's pretty clear that we're asking for a variance. We understand the need for us to install a new septic system. But what we're asking for is a variance so we don't have to do a spray system to lose roughly a third of our land to the spray system. As you can see on that map that was in the agenda today, where the 50-foot radius keep out zone is, which would affect our animals. So what I'd like to just highlight today is the cost for a spray system. We've gotten 3 different cost estimates, and so they range from $28,000 all the way up to $31,000. So we have not got a full quote for a discharge system since we don't have approval for that, but we have talked to a couple of installers, and they are estimating or telling us that it would be roughly around $20,000. So that savings would be between 8 to 11, thank you, would be substantial since we've already spent about $2,000 getting the pump tank, getting our septic pumped out, inspected with the leach field that isn't enough for a house of family of 5, and then soil sample, septic design, that all costs us money. And so we're currently about just over $2,000 on trying to find a solution that would work for us. So those are the things that I wanted to highlight today, and that's why we're here requesting the variance to our septic system. So with that, I think that's what we have.
I think there was one thing on the quotes. They don't include
Oh,
the
that's
electrical portion. And so we also have an estimate for the electrical portion with the company that we've already used for other electrical work. So we have that included, and that's estimated to be between $1,600 and $3,900. You have to be clear.
Depending on this excavation.
And the other cost is the maintenance of the spray system. It has to have maintenance twice a year. And a few of the companies have said that they will not have an additional cost initially, depending on the equipment that we go with, because the manufacturer offers a warranty and they will maintain their own system for a period of 1 to 2 years. But then after that, we'll look at the cost of maintaining that system. And that's estimated to be between $500 and $1,000 additionally per maintenance check.
Thank you. So, they're requesting that we install what type of system?
The discharging.
The discharging system. And Mr. Cook and Zibby, in your professional opinions, is that a viable option for this location?
So Zibby and I talked, and our duty to you as the board is to present our professional opinion, a balance of what's been requested in the variance, plus what the best practices are, what the laws, the rules are. Zibby and I have talked about this, understanding that a discharging or off-lot system really should only be used when there's poor soil conditions or when you have a high water table that makes inadequate sewage treatment system moving down through the natural disposal system of soil, not a viable option. Those aren't the case with this property. There is adequate soil and there's not a high water table. So the last resort of using a discharging system, which moves the water off lot, it doesn't meet what best practices are. since the soil is adequate. And so, Zibby, please correct me if I'm wrong. The designer soil evaluation scientist said that there are other options. A spray is one of them. A mound is an option, an Anua, a drip. They're all options. Those, I think the spray is the least expensive out of all those options. There are other options for on-site disposal systems. I don't know what the cost of those are, but what our duty to you is to tell you professionally an off-lot or discharging system is only supposed to be used when the soils are inadequate or there's a high water table.
And so, for example, a mound, a drip system, things like that, they are a possibility. With it being a wooded area, they will have to clear trees. They'll have to clear that land to put in, because you can't put a mound in, around the middle of the tree and have the tree growing into it, because that will cause your system to fail. So they'll have to do some clearing to be able to utilize the other options, which is most likely why he went with a spray, because you only have to clear vegetation within a 10-foot radius of that spray head.
Can I just add in that that's news to us? So as I phoned Zibby this morning, yesterday and spoke with her this morning, after I reviewed the agenda, the designer, Mr. Miller, told us that we did not have any other options. And we have attempted to get back in contact with him. I have emails here. We have had an installer who has attempted to reach him to discuss other options like mounding and so forth. But when Mr. Miller came to our property and tested, we were both present and spoke with him. And the only option he gave us was spray. And so that's why we've spent additional time trying to find our options out. So to learn in the agenda that he had emailed Zibby saying that we had options for mound and so forth, the words of drip and Anua or something are completely new to us. We've never even heard that. And his report didn't say that. He didn't communicate that to us. So I just want to make note of that is news to us.
Okay. So that's another option.
Those are other types of septic system options
Okay.
that are available.
All right.
So any of those have to go somewhere in the wooded section?
So what happens is when a soil evaluator goes out to a property, they take samples of the soil. They have a soil probe. It's like a little 1 inch maybe in diameter probe that goes down, and then it pulls out a core of soil. And they look at it and see what type of soils it is, clays, silts, sands, the makeup of that. And then they look for seasonal water table, groundwater, things like that we know that aren't conducive to absorbing more water. And then they approve an area and say, this soil description is representative of this entire area. So I don't know if you can see it very well on your drawing. This one, it's not real able to be seen, but then they designate like a block and they'll say, okay, this area is conducive to putting in a septic system. So it has to stay within that approved area.
Where are the boundaries?
I'm gonna show it on here because this is a little bit easier. So if it doesn't flip.
Because there's a lot of lines, I'm just trying to.
Yeah. So the more like rectangle
Mhm.
is the approved soil area. And then in this case, the inner circle is what he has designed as the spray radius. So that's the area where when it goes and sprays, it will spray that entire area in a given amount of time. And then the outer circle is the guidance documents for spray irrigation systems. They have a 50-foot buffer outside of that spray radius to account for like if it's windy that day when it's spraying, where it's going to kind of may drift past that. But that inner circle is what he's determined as the spray radius. And that has to stay within that approved soils area.
And you were wanting a discharge?
So we're wanting, if you look at that map, and maybe Zibby can show you, we're wanting to do a discharge in the area where it currently is, the septic system currently is, which is on the
So their
other.
current system is there, back over here, right? So
Is that the little?
here's Route
Behind the house.
Route 40.
Yeah.
And then.
It is behind the house down the hill.
There's no
Yeah,
block.
and if you look in that same area, I could probably show on the map, but if you look in that same area where it is where the farmer's swell meets into our property. And so his property, which is behind us and to the side of us, his property drains. So there are lines in that map that show you the grades and how the property, slopes down, and it slopes down from the wooded area and it slopes down from the house. And so it meets a low point in that corner. And so the back part of our property where the farmer is, his land drains into that section, and then it flows off of ours into his swale. You can see that on the map. He has a swale there. That every time it rains or anything like that, there's water that flows down from him into ours and off. And we have videos too, if you're interested in seeing videos about how that water flows. So that's the area that we're asking our septic remain where it is and have a discharge system, which wouldn't create anything additionally than what already occurs there with rainwater. We feel, yes, there would be regular water being discharged, but it's our understanding that there would be some sort of pit or something that holds a percentage of the water, and then what would be extra would be flowing off into his swale. Of course, I don't know because I haven't seen the design. I'm not familiar with that, but that's what our understanding is. So we would like to avoid the wooded area. We'd like to avoid most of the property because we want our goats to be able to forage.
So there's not enough space in that? That looks like there's a lot of area on that side of the property. If there's not,
It's like a fairly
Over
steep
here.
hill.
yeah.
down.
Over
In
here,
that
in this corner?
So this
Yeah,
corner down
if you
here is where
read
their
that.
current
The
That little
septic.
black
close,
box.
so it's a steep.
That might be the current, that's the tank.
Mhm.
And then we don't have a drawing, but down in here is where their current leach field is.
And the closer those lines are, the steeper the hill.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly steep.
It is, yeah.
Is that a 10-foot per line?
I don't know.
I would say more than that. Our
I don't-
current tank is buried in that hill, so,
None of the lines.
the lines, I think.
Yeah, I don't see the.
So if they had a discharge system, it would be over here where their existing tank is, and then it would,
So what would happen is if they went, you guys approved and allowed them to have a discharging system, we would, an installer or designer would design where they think it would be best based on, where the plumbing comes out of their house and things like that. And then we work with the county engineer's office on where the best location is to discharge to. Whether it would be that natural drainage swale, whether it would be the roadside ditch. It would just depend on kind of their guidance on where we discharge. So we work with them so as to not, one, we don't want to cause an issue for a neighbor. And we also don't want to cause like flooding in the roadway or, problems in the counties or township ditches. So
And
we
that's an
work with
open
them.
ditch.
I believe so, yes.
And do you have the letter from the landowner?
I don't have anything from the farmers that you're
Yeah.
talking about. I don't know
Yeah,
if you guys have anything.
we have spoke with him. He hasn't written a letter.
Okay.
He simply we've had conversation. He's been to the property. We've talked about it multiple times. We've also discussed down the line, perhaps, if there is an abundance of water in that area that is discharging off, regularly to his property, helping with the cost of putting in a more secure drainage system, like maybe additional tiles or a grading or something on his side. Those things have been discussed with him, but,
We haven't requested anything right now.
yeah, he hasn't provided. The trustees are the same, and also the county engineer's office has already looked at the property and, given insight on it. There was a misunderstanding at the beginning of, what happens in the process. So, the engineer had been out and he, looked at that area and deemed it was an appropriate area
For discharge.
for discharge.
so I'm thinking if in my mind, it would be easier if we had something from the farmer that says, yes, they've talked to you and looked at this as viable from them, and that makes it a little bit clearer for me.
You want it written? Is that what you're saying?
Just to know that he's giving permission to work with you
Absolutely.
for,
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
do something.
That's, to me, I would say if we're gonna suggest that, that's a legal document that say these folks would sell their property and that system's in, and then the next owner, or say the farmer sells his property, it has to be a legal document that carries on.
That can be done. It can be attached to the deed of the land.
Yeah,
And I think the township would need to also, we would get sign off from the township, is it for this?
So they don't normally give sign off,
Okay.
like where we discharge to.
Okay.
Currently, the way we do those work with the county is we send an email to, a contact at the county engineer's office and say, hey, we have this property, and he will email back and say, here's where, you put it. So he is supposed to then coordinate with the townships and, make sure that, they're okay with where he's telling us to discharge.
Did you hear from our township, Sippy?
Yes,
Okay.
one of the township trustees reached out. So whenever we get a variance, I send the ethics review that I provide with you guys in this packet. They get that whole packet as well. I send that to them and to give them the opportunity to give comments or anything like that. The one township trustee, I guess you guys had talked to him maybe it sounded like you were at a township trustee meeting. And they said they were okay with the discharging system. They didn't have any issues with it.
And Zibby, Mr. Cook, as far as the rule goes, what's the concern about a discharge system? It sounds like it's a last resort, but is it because it has a higher rate of failure compared to some of the other options that Zibby mentioned, whether it's a mound or a drip or?
I'll let you jump in,
rationale?
but it's because you are taking the water and moving it off the lot. And then if it's not operating properly, the contamination is,
Raw
So
sewage
really,
or
it
something.
should be last resort, and that's why they made it.
On-site is always the top option. That's why there's really only 2 times that off lots. And so the other piece of this is the permitting process for an off lot is called NPDES, National Pollution Elimination Discharge. National Pollution Discharge Elimination System. I flipped it. So it is even nationally, when you have to have this permit, it's recognized as a last resort. On lot is always number one. You asked if those are the ones that we see failed most. Absolutely. Aeration off lots are the ones that fail the most, do the most damage in our community as opposed to on lot treatment. I mean, objectively, that's your answer. Yeah.
Okay, so I just have one other question, because you said, and this was new to the family, about a mound system. The benefit of a mound system that they haven't been made aware of is that it would keep the ground dry.
so what a mound system is where they bring in sand and they build the system up. So they build up and then the line that carries the sewage and disperses it is on top of that sand, and it
Just-
filters down to it, and then it hits the soil and filters down to the soil more. One of the advantages of a mound is it's a pressurized line, so it sends out a particular amount, a dosed amount to that line. So they can be not quite as big. They're taller, but there aren't as many maybe lines. Because you're sending out a small dose at a certain time versus like your traditional leach systems. Whatever water is used, just gravity feeds out. So if you're having a big party, more water might go out. Whereas like on a mound system, typically when they're set up, they can be set up to dose different ways, but there's a reserve, and so it doses smaller amounts. so you don't have to have quite as much of an area.
And that could be located in the wooded area.
It can, but they would have to remove trees.
Which is
When we
probably
asked
why that-
Mr. Miller, oh,
No, go
Sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
my hand raises, she nodded to me. When we asked Mr. Miller initially about doing a mound, because we thought the options were leach, mound, spray, those 3 options, he had told us that it wasn't an option, and then he additionally shared with us that mounds have to be replaced every few years or repaired, which is an additional cost. And I don't know if that's why he was saying it wasn't an option to us at the time, but there was that information. The other thing I wanted to point out about the discharge itself is that with both the discharge system we're asking for and the spray system, there are 2 tanks, and there's an aerobic tank that is cleaning the sewage. So the water coming out of the discharge is the same clean water that would be coming out of the spray nozzle. So it's not, if the system were to fail, it wouldn't be raw sewage. I would never allow that. We're not going to be having raw or dirty water on our property. So, if the system were to fail, either way, that's obviously an option. But again, 2 tanks are still involved, and we still have to get that second tank to clean the sewage before it could be pumped anywhere. And then the last thing, in your information, we said, our variance was for the goats, but also the cost. We just want to add, as a family, we're currently furloughed. We are federal employees on furlough, so this adds a whole other element to cost. We were given the option to have our land evaluated by a second professional, since only 1 soil sample was taken, but that doesn't seem to be an option for us at this time, as we've gone, 15 days without pay.
Are any of those in that area, is there just not enough room for those other options? Because in that letter, it gave several, you got the spray, mound, drip, and NUA.
So those are just different technologies and types of septic systems. I don't know, because we have not, a designer hasn't
So we
designed
need
and
to table
submitted
it
anything
and have somebody
for like a
design it?
mound.
Mr.
Probably.
Miller said it wasn't an option with the spacing. He measured.
Oh, okay.
So the engineer and the soil scientist, he evaluated that and said no other part of the property could be used. We even asked if our driveway area could be used. The current area could be used for a mound or spray or leach field, but there isn't enough room. If between the home and the wooded area where the land is cleared, if that could be used, again, he said no. But again, he told us no. And then in an email, he told Zibby we had other options. So I can't attest to that.
Okay. So I think I would like to have something from the farmer that says that they are in agreement to using that as an option for that drainage. That would give me a greater sense of if it fails, then it's a shared responsibility, so to speak. So can we table this till we receive that? Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
You guys get them signed.
Or we can approve it if that's what you're doing with contingency. So they don't have to leave.
That's a good idea. So smart.
I guess this second question I have is the Anua and the drip. I haven't heard enough about those 2 other options to take those off the table. Obviously, the first option they're not happy with. The second option, they've put a lot of time and effort into, and it would require us to approve a variance. But those other 2 options from this letter look like they might still be viable. Is there any way we can rule those out too, or suggest them maybe even a better option than the second?
I can pull additional information on how they work and how much space is needed and things like that.
Okay. Good.
But any of those, again, any of those other options would have to be where the soils were in that
It has to be,
rectangle.
yes, it
area.
has to be in an approved soils area,
And that's the only approved soils
Yeah.
area is in the trees.
on the parcel, yes.
But one of the other things that we're trying to avoid is having damp.
Stray,
so- Right, so those other options would be without that.
the ground would still be usable for the goats if,
Right.
like a mount, I guess they can graze on the mount, right? And it's
If it
underground,
grows stuff, they can raise.
so.
I thought they didn't take soil samples in the other area.
There
He
were
took
two,
soil, yeah. He walked the whole property and he probed multiple places. As far as how many samples he actually took, I don't know. He only provided us with one sample on our property. He did provide a sample on the farmer's property, which is number 2 in there. But again, that is of no use to us. We won't be installing or even asking the farmer to install anything on his property. So I'm not sure why, but he did walk our entire 3 acres and probe many places. And reportedly, there was only the one soil sample, the only one area.
Okay. All right, so I think this is where we're at. We are going to table this. We're going to find out additional information about those other 2 systems that might be options available for you so that we can keep the goats safe. And you are going to also try to get something back from the farmer so that we can see possibly more than just one viable option for you.
Will that be an additional cost to us, or is that something city will be finding for us?
I don't know.
I can get information on what the new system is like. You know, if you're gonna have to remove trees and all that kind of stuff, I can get all that information. Without having an actual design to say, yes, it will fit in here, you know, I
That's the
can't
best
say
we can
that
do.
part.
That's the best we can do.
So that would be us hiring another professional to get another opinion.
Yeah.
That's why, that was our point, you know, it's the cost, it's the goats and the cost combined.
Mhm. Okay.
Does it be, I mean, is Steve Miller, can he design those systems?
I believe so. I mean, as long as he's
I mean,
comfortable.
if you already invested with him,
But why would,
He's gonna charge us additional amount of money to do a new design. They already charged us $1,500 to do the current design.
our question too, sir, to you is that if Mr. Miller didn't disclose that any of those other systems were an option at the beginning, what additional information has he found that now deems that they are an option? The thing that we questioned is that, I have corresponding emails with him, with Mr. Miller himself, because we could not find an installer who would install this system since it's new, and there are only reportedly 12 or so that are known in the county. And so when we emailed back and told him that we couldn't find an installer, and so we found someone who wanted to talk with him about the options that we had, he replied back to us and said he didn't realize we were having trouble finding an installer, but that he also installed the systems and he'd be glad to send us an estimate. And so his estimate is included in here. After that, that made us think that perhaps Mr. Miller was not looking out for our best interest, but maybe his best interest in recommending a type of system that he himself and his family can install for us. So I think there is perhaps a conflict of interest there, and that would be why we would not want to go with Mr. Miller in the future. Because not only did he not provide that info, but then he provided different info to Zippy in an email to her regarding what our options were.
sure, completely understandable. You know, the relationship between homeowner who is paying for the system and the designer really doesn't involve, you know, the health department. They present the design to us, we say, yes, this meets code. I mean, we provide, I mean, it's available on our website of people that are authorized to do design and installation. And your selection, was Mr. Miller. I can't force him to design something for you at no cost, unfortunately. I mean, I wish we
We
could.
understand that,
Yeah.
we understand no one works for nothing.
Yeah.
So we understand that well.
So as we stand now, we'd like to have the paperwork from your neighbor. We'd also like to know, Zibby, whatever you can give us on the two other systems. And can we talk again at the next meeting? Okay,
You want to tell them exactly what you're looking for in a letter? Because I'm not sure. I don't know if you know. What are you looking for
so what I'm
for them to
looking for
get?
in the letter is that the farmer said that it was okay for them to have their discharge system go into
This property.
his property.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so we need to
Just want to make
know.
sure it was
Yeah.
clear what you're asking for.
Okay.
What, do
doesn't
we
need
need
to be-
anything also for who would be liable for if there's any issues with the discharge? Like who's gonna cover costs?
So,
Or just, it would just all be the
Originator, yeah, I
right, I
don't
think that
think
would be the homeowner. He's just saying that, yeah, you can discharge into this. But if
Okay.
it fails, then the homeowners
That's on
have all of the costs that are associated with that.
Okay.
Okay, and then, I also, you're gonna find out what the cost is, cause the mound could still be cheaper, we don't know.
I can get general.
General, I know it's gonna be general,
Yeah.
Sylvia, I'm not holding you to a specific design or anything, just so that we have, because apparently you've got a little bit more information than the family does.
he said in his email there to Zippy that he had proposed the cheapest option to us, which was the spray.
Yeah.
In that email
Yeah,
that she's
it's-
included. And so if the mound and the other ones are options, they're going to be more of an increased cost. But again, we could try and find out more information.
All right, so you have your assignment, and we look forward to seeing you in November.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You need to ask for a motion and a second to table.
Okay, dokey doodle. On here, sewage variance, I'm looking for a motion, to table this, discussion to next, meeting. And the homeowners will bring us a letter of support documentation from the farmer that lives in the next property.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? Ms. Roll caller, Shannon,
Dr. Moore,
bride braid, okay, yes.
Mr. Adamson,
Yes.
Dr. DeGuzman,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette,
Yes.
Ms. DeWitt,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right, solid waste. Oh, you can stay or you can.
Yeah, this is your time. If you don't want to stay for the whole thing, we
I
won't
saw
find
all
the
your
district.
budget items, I think we'll go.
He's a good choice.
Okay. Mr. Cook.
The 2026 solid waste district contract is in front of you. It is valued at $132,000 for next year, which is a little less than this previous year. I will tell you that starting in 2027, that contract kind of start coming down. They're going to be shifting dollars to other agencies. I don't know how quickly it's going to be coming down or by how much, but $132,000 allows us to do some of our solid waste investigations and remedial actions that we do every single day, because it is a mandated program, but there's no funding either locally or through the state. So the solid waste district does it through some tipping fees that they get at our local facilities and out of their budget. So just ask for your approval to sign that and accept $132,000 for next year.
Okay, can I get a motion for us to accept this money?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Roll call, please.
Dr. DeGuzman,
Yes.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Adamson,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette,
Yes.
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Ms. DeWitt.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Health tuberculosis contract, Mr. Cook.
This is also nothing new. It's a contract for next year, actually runs through, I think, July of next year. Valued at about $3,300. It's a deliverable-based contract, so if we have patients and we do everything that we have to do for those tuberculosis patients, we'll be reimbursed by the county commissioners who get funding straight from the Ohio Department of Health. You might ask, why don't the Ohio Department of Health just pay us directly? In the Ohio Revised Code, it declares that county commissioners own the TB program and create TB control units. In pretty much every county that I know of in Ohio, they designate that to the local health department. So it's just the path it has to follow because it's in the revised code, but they just pass the dollars through us because we're the ones that do the work.
Okay, asking for a motion and a second approving the tuberculosis contract.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Ms. Hackathorn.
Ms. DeWitt,
Yes.
Mr. Adamson,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette,
Yes.
Dr. DeGuzman,
Yes.
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Dr. Moore.
Yes. Creation of new funds, Mr. Cook.
Well, you already know, I think we have, what do we have, Jeff, 49 funds? Is that right?
It's upper 40s, yes.
Well, why not crack the 50? Okay, so we want to create 2 new funds. Really, we're not going to utilize the nursing fund till next year. So this is just getting ahead. We're going to have a place to create a budget. Right now, nursing is the only major program that we have that's actually residing in the general fund. Pretty much all of our other programs are broken out into funds. But we're going to break that out so we can keep track of dollars a little more closely as we move forward. So nursing fund is what we want to create again for 2026. Right now, we just kind of keep track of it inside the general fund, which gets complex sometimes. So we want a separate place to keep track of those dollars, both income and expense. And then the donations fund is also to allow for simplicity. And right now, when we get money from, let's say, Community Health Foundation, Crable Family Foundation, a variety of other foundations, they all go into the general fund. They all have specific names that we have to use those dollars for. And we just kind of keep track of it on Excel spreadsheets and in our internal ledgers. But we want to create a fund where we can, again, receive the money into a fund that's called donation fund that doesn't have, some federal requirement to have it in a federal fund, and then just expend out of there. It'll just allow us to keep track of those dollars separately and a little bit better. So, but we will start using donation fund this year as we were receiving a couple of those donations yet before the end of the year. And it takes a resolution by the board to do that.
Okay,
Not something we do often.
so could we have a motion and a second to approve the creation of a nursing and a donation fund?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Ms. Hackathorn. the roll,
Ms.
please.
DeWitt,
Yes.
Mr. Adamson,
Yes.
Dr. DeGuzman,
Yes.
Dr. Moore,
Yes,
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette.
Yes.
okay. Board of Health bylaws, Mr. Cook.
I believe you all were on the board when we first discussed this. I believe it was December of 23. December 2023. We looked at them and then it just kind of fell off of everybody's radar. That was about the time that Charlie was retiring and I was taking over. And so we need to do this. So this is what you looked at, but you looked back in December of 2023. There's nothing new in there. We just added on the front cover the date, effective dates, and then we have a little change log there at the bottom table of contents. So the only change log is adoption of bylaws, hopefully tonight. This just kind of formalizes something that frankly we need for our reaccreditation process, and it just kind of puts into writing things that we do that you all do as a board. Happy to entertain any questions. Like I said, we talked about it once back in December of 23.
Okay, if I have a motion and a second to approve the Board of Health bylaws.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Hackathorn, roll.
Mr. Adamson,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette,
Yes.
Dr. DeGuzman,
Yes.
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Ms. DeWitt,
Yes.
Dr. Moore.
Yes, okay, motion carried. Okay. Moving to position upgrade. Ms. Schaefer.
Thank you. I am requesting approval for a position upgrade for one of our certifying health professionals, Nicole Kendall, from a certifying health professional 1 to a 2. Nicole has been with our team for 2.25 years and has been a terrific addition. This year, Nicole volunteered to serve as one of the Southwest Region's nutrition representatives for the state WIC Nutrition and Breastfeeding Advisory Council. And just last month, Nicole took the opportunity to complete the Certified Lactation Specialist course from special grant funding through State WIC. I'm happy to report Nicole successfully completed the 5-day course, passed the exam, and is now a certified lactation specialist. I feel the ambition that Nicole has exhibited over the past year and her everyday work ethic justify the request for the position upgrade.
Very nice. Could I get a motion and second to approve the position upgrade for Ms. Nicole?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Hackathorn, roll call.
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Mr. Adamson.
Yes.
Dr. Robinette,
Yes.
Dr. DeGuzman,
Yes.
Ms. DeWitt,
Yes.
Dr. Moore.
Yes, and that'll be taking place soon. Okay.
Tell her congratulations.
Yes.
Do that. Thank you.
Staffing changes, Ms. Hackathorn.
Yes, as you can see, we have several exciting new hires, so I think the directors may share more about that. We did have one intent to retire, which will happen later in the year, but she did put in that intent, so we listed that there. And then we had one resignation, which is Kelly Stickney, who is our current vital statistics registrar. She has actually been with the health department for 38 years. She retired in 22. She was a rehire and came back, and now she's decided to move on to a new adventure. So I just wanted to say that we will wish her well and thank her for their 38 years of service to the health department. That's all.
Okay, so we are asking for a motion and second to appointing new employees to the Public Health Service.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Hackathorn?
Dr. DeGuzman,
Yes.
Mr. Adamson,
Yes.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. DeWitt,
Yes.
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette.
Okay. Financial reports.
Voucher wise, I apologize. Last month we had it down to about 5 pages. This month it is significantly more. It's also about $107,000 more, which is a lot, but it is not, even in my short time here, it is not the most we have ever spent on non-payroll expenses in a month. We had a couple of grants wrap up in September, so we had a little additional spending for those. But most of it is just kind of the cost of doing business.
So could I get a motion and a second to approve the expenses and the vouchers for September? So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Hackathorn, roll call.
Mr. Adamson,
Yes.
Ms. DeWitt,
Yes.
Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Dr. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Robinette,
Yes.
Dr. DeGuzman.
Yes.
Okay, so we have no transfers or advances
No, ma'am.
and monthly fund report.
I apologize for the way this got spaced. It kind of spilled out onto extra pages, and that's never the intent. The actual cash report itself is, goes into the sheet of many colors, which I will direct your attention to again. We are starting to look at alternatives for this, obviously, because there is an awful lot of information on there. One item I sadly need to draw your attention to is item 8220, WIC. Sorry, Ms. Schaefer, but the revenues on that are for the year currently overstated. They've given us too much money. We're in the process of trying to resolve that, but if you look at that line item, it looks like we're having a really good year, and we are. They're doing a great job, just not quite as good as it indicates. So, they basically paid us one payment too many.
Who told them?
I'm afraid if I don't, they'll just.
Jeff doesn't look good in orange, I don't think.
Okay, all right, so,
Can I just throw in one extra comment, observation I made this
Please.
morning?
Please.
As compared to this time last year, so we're 75% away through the year. As compared to this time last year, our income is down 16% as compared to last year. It's due to loss of some grants that you all already know about. But I will tell you that our expenses as compared to this time last year are down about 30%. So all the cost containment things that we've been doing, and I thank all of you as directors for taking it seriously as we continue to talk about ways to contain the cost and be more flexible because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. It's working. And so as we approach the last quarter here this year, we'll be anxiously watching to see how the bottom line fares. But I think what we've done throughout this year as a thank you to the staff and taking it seriously is going to show in the bottom line numbers.
thank you for your hard work. All right, so, that's on the fund report. Public health team reports. Mr. Witt.
Thank you. So I just want to take a little bit of time to discuss one thing tonight, besides what you have in your report, and that's rabies. So over the last month or so, we have been seeing an uptick in the number of rabies encounters, bites, scratches, things like that get reported to us involving wildlife. This has also been an increase throughout the state over the last few years. So the number of occurrences they're having with wildlife encounters is going up, which is kind of disheartening to me. But in Ohio, the bat rabies variant is the most prevalent, most common. That's likely the species we would expect to be positive for rabies vaccines here around us. We do have along the eastern side of the state, the raccoon variant that the state does a vaccine baiting system with in the spring, trying to keep that raccoon variant out of Ohio. And in neighboring Kentucky is the skunk variant. Thankfully, the river is doing a great job of keeping that down, but that's not to say that, some skunk walks across a bridge or something like that, hitchhikes with someone and makes its way into Ohio. So we're trying to keep that out as well. So while the threat is fairly low for us here in our part of Ohio to encounter an animal with rabies, it's still important that we take a precaution to protect ourselves because rabies is always deadly if PP isn't administered before symptoms begin in someone. Two of those best measures are having your pets vaccinated against rabies and remembering, observe, don't disturb when you're dealing with wildlife. Don't feed them, don't try to pet them, don't try to rescue them and make them a pet. And we're talking about things like raccoons, skunks, fox, groundhogs, things like that. So I just wanted to put that out there to remind people when it comes to wildlife, observe, don't disturb.
That's nice. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Witt? Okay. Nursing, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you. So this has been another busy month. If you want to take a look at the report there. We did go to the Health Expo last week and we gave about 30 vaccines, which is pretty on par for what we typically do there. It's usually a pretty busy 2 hours there. So that was successful. And we have hired 2 new nurses. One is Tony, he works in our he's our CMH nurse. And he has started and he's going to be full-time here. And then we just recently hired another communicable disease nurse. Her name is Madison and she's starting in 2 weeks. So pretty excited for those additions. And then also attached is the communicable disease report for the 3rd quarter there. If you have any questions, just let me know. I will say there is reporting changes when it comes to COVID. So historically, it's always been just a reportable disease as soon as it's diagnosed, but they've changed it. So it's going to be a little different for this respiratory season. Only the hospitalizations are reportable now.
just like influenza is. So those numbers, which haven't been accurate for years because of home testing, it's actually a good thing that they did this because realistically, they're not accurate numbers. But that will definitely reflect at the end of the quarter, for sure. And that's it.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for Ms. Taylor? Okay, thank you. Early childhood, Ms. Lambert.
Thank you. As Shannon alluded to, one of our home visiting supervisors, Mickey DeWitt, will be retiring at the end of this year. And she served in that capacity for about 9 years. So we advertised a little bit early so that we could get hopefully someone to come in so that she could work with a new person and do some important mentoring there. And we were able to interview and choose one of our home visitors, Tony Perez. So Tony will be moving from a home visitor position into that supervisor position on November the 10th. So that's a really good thing. And I was going to mention that we had our lowest wait list for Help Me Grow Home Visiting of 47 families, but that will probably go back up a little because now we'll be posting for Tony's home visiting position, and that'll probably go out next week. So hopefully we'll interview next month and get somebody in there to serve in that capacity. It's a good thing.
Any questions for Ms. Lambert? Okay, thank you very much for your report. And Women, Infant, and Children, Ms. Schaefer.
Thank you. Our team recently gained 2 members over the past couple weeks, Brianna Rudder and Madison Jones. Brianna filled our support clerk position, and Madison our certifying health professional position. Brianna has a background in healthcare and program management, and Madison is a recent graduate from Bluffton University with a master's degree in nutrition and dietetics. She also worked as a clinical nutrition lab technician at Dayton Children's. So we're pretty thrilled to have them both on our team. They're working through training right now. And then you may have noticed on the report, September was a busy month for us. We had our second highest caseload number. So I just wanted to point that out. And Ashley also had her second highest caseload for September with new babies in the hospital. So I just want to really thank all of my team for all their hard work with the participants that we're seeing in our division. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Schaefer? Health planning.
Yes, hello. I will be quick. So you have the report in front of you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. October starts a lot of grant years for a lot of the health planning grants. One in particular is Creating Health Communities. I just like to point this out at the beginning of the grant year every year because Creating Healthy Communities works on policy systems and environmental changes. So they're higher level work that takes really the whole grant year to facilitate. So there's really only 3 focus areas or objectives within those grants that Ashley works on throughout the year. One of those is to build upon the momentum of the bike share program that we started with the library and partnering with the Parks District to install and fix bike fix-it stations that they have throughout the county. So that if you're riding and you get a flat tire or something, there's stations that are around the bike trail and stuff that you can go and they have some tools and equipment to fix a bike. So we're excited about that. We're also going to partner with Second Harvest Food Bank to invest and support the infrastructure of their mobile distribution and their mobile site. And then we're going to work with the Clark County Local Foods Council to supply mini grants to community gardens to help with infrastructure and support the work that they do. So we're excited to start a new year of healthy eating and active living. And then not health planning related, but agency related, I would like to invite all of you to our fall festival that's taking place next Thursday. Yes, right? No, 2 Thursdays. Ooh, thank goodness. 2 Thursdays, the 30th. October 30th, so day before Halloween. It'll be 4 to 6:30. It's here in our courtyard. So we're doing some fun things. We're gonna have a chili cook-off that staff can enter. Currently, there's only 3, but they're gonna be 3 really good ones because they're sitting right here. It's me, Chris, and Jeff. So
I've got a designated cook.
Oh. Don't tell anybody that. Yeah. So costume contest for people that want to bring their kids and just, a way to get together and have a little downtime and fun and, enjoy some food and fellowship. So that's happening 2 Thursdays from now. Thank you. October 30th.
Very good. Any questions for Bruce? Okay, thank you very much. Health Commissioner updates. Mr. Clark.
Well, Gracie is brief, and I'm not. Here's, I have 9 things for you. Gosh, I shouldn't have told you the number. That sounds really bad. All right, so first off, you're going to get a new Board of Health member. So at the District Advisory Council last month, they didn't have a quorum to appoint a new board member to fulfill Dr. Gullich's term. So there's a little carve out in the Ohio Revised Code that allows District Advisory Council to appoint an executive committee, which is 5 people, 3 of which are by statute, and 2 are selected by the District Advisory Council folks that are there. We met this week, actually here, and they did appoint in a very short order. They were here like 3 minutes. It's one of those things you like wish they could do it virtually, but yeah. They appointed Jessica Johnson to fulfill the remainder of Dr. Gullich's term that will run through March of 2028. Jessica is a resident of Springfield Township. She's a full-time professor of practice at Wittenberg in the nursing program. She also does some time over at Madison Health Hospital in the ER as the Keeper RN current, I'm sure. And so that just happened, like I said, on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? That's Tuesday. We've reached out to her as part of board orientation. Gracie and I will meet with her and kind of give her an idea of what she's signed up for. And I also would like her to meet with both the Valerie and Scott at some point here too, so you can interact with her a little bit for her first board meeting, which she has on her calendar for next month. So looking forward to having, I think she goes by Jessie. So she signed a couple of her emails and I haven't met her in person yet, so I didn't feel comfortable calling her Jessie yet. I just did on YouTube, so. So next, I just want to say thank you again for allowing us to close last Friday for our Workforce Development Day. You all are very gracious to allow us to close. I mean, we know what it means to close for a day for this community, but we also know what it means for our staff. And 2 days a year, we do that, and we had a jam-packed agenda. I think staff learned a lot, but I put it together, or helped our workforce team put it together, but a little bit of bias. But I think that we'll see that on the evaluation. We always ask the staff to tell us how we did, what they liked, didn't like. But again, just thank you for letting us close. As an extra bonus, we were off on Monday, so I feel like it's just good for morale. We had Workforce Development Day, some cool things, and then we had Monday off. So thank you again. Quick update of our strategic plan. Our strategic plan, you all answered some questions a couple months ago related to our strategic plan by email. And we are kind of synthesizing all the information, all these inputs. I think we have about 10 different inputs into the strategic plan that will run from 2026 to 28. Gracie and I are in the process of taking everything, both internal things we want to do and external things, and condensing it down, putting some dates and expected completion metrics behind all of these, and then presenting it to you as the board for your review and approval and comment back. The main areas that we share this with the staff at the Workforce Development Day are in workforce investment and retention, foundational public health services, culture, long-term financial planning, and performance management, quality improvement culture. Those are the internal pieces. The external areas of momentum will be branding, marketing, and getting the name of public health back out there, authentic community engagement, coordinated outreach, and access and buildings. Those are very broad topics, and there's a bunch of things that sit underneath those, but look for that next month to cross your email to see what you think of our plan for the next 3 years. Next up, just a quick note about COVID, flu, and measles. We're starting to see a little bit of flu activity in our region. Most people get their flu shot in October. So based on a little bit of activity that we're seeing as far as flu hospitalizations already, I think the season's going to start ramping up very, very soon. COVID numbers across the nation are continuing to be down, but as Cheyenne said, we're just going to be measuring it the same way we do with flu, with hospitalization. So on the next quarterly report, or probably starting next year, you'll see on that, instead of the COVID cases, you'll see COVID hospitalizations, much like we do with flu. Something you haven't heard about for a while is H5N1, avian influenza, starting to rear its other ugly head again. If you look across the nation in the number of flocks, both commercial and backyard flocks, we're starting to see some increases. We just get very concerned about when we see flock increases because this doesn't move from person to person. We've had a handful of cases moving from chickens to people, but if you want to know what our nightmares are made of, it's H5N1 becoming person-to-person transmission. So there's a lot of things involved with the Ohio Department of Agriculture, making sure that we're culling flocks that are positive. There's a lot of things that go on way behind the scenes to protect the public, just like what we do every day. There's a lot of work involved, and I'm very thankful for those folks. Let's talk about intoxicating hemp products very, very quickly. If you paid any attention to the news this week, Governor DeWine issued an executive order to ban the sale and storage and supplying of intoxicating hemp products here in Ohio for the next 90 days. It was very short-lived because I don't know what they call themselves. It's like Ohio Healthy Alternatives or something. It's big marijuana. Filed 3 lawsuits and said he couldn't do that. And so a judge said, okay, here's a temporary restraining order for the next 2 weeks. So right now there is no effective executive order to ban those intoxicating hemp products. Did any of you see the press conference or the pictures of the products? I will send it to you. It is absolutely stunning, the products, how much they look like kids' products. Is anybody going to admit that they've eaten Nerds clusters?
No.
Yes, I know.
Like
them.
regular.
No.
Yeah, regular.
No, not the Nerdy bears. The knockoff, I mean, it looked, yes, they are.
They are good.
But here's what happened this week. I don't know if you caught this in the news, but there were 3 middle schoolers that went to the hospital this week because they consumed those types of products. They found it in mom's purse. They brought it to school. 3 of them consumed it, and they went to the hospital because they were high on a product that should not be on the shelves. And I will tell you, I fully support what Governor DeWine is doing. There are 4 House and Senate bills trying to do the same thing. But frankly, Governor DeWine just couldn't take it anymore. It's moving way too slow. So he said, that's it. I'm doing an executive order. I'm going to get you all going on these House and Senate bills. And unfortunately, he just got handcuffed for the next 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks when that inevitably goes before another judge. But it's Senate Bill 266, Senate Bill 86, Senate Bill 56, 6 isn't it? And House Bill 160. Those are all having to do with intoxicating hemp products that kind of go through the normal process and not the executive order, which, boy, sure seems to be normal all across the board as executive orders anymore. Quick note about House Bill 309. It is a proposal that would hopefully address our property tax issue. I shared a little bit with the staff on Friday about this. It's concerning to me. I haven't lost hope that property taxes are going to go away, but this is one of the alternatives. It would really do 4 things. It would give our county budget commissions some power in the area of levies in their first 5 years. If they're new levies, it'll allow county budget commissions to reduce property taxes if they feel that the entity receiving it doesn't need it after review of their budget. Doesn't scare me because I know we need it. It also defines something called unnecessary collections and allows county budget commissions to make adjustments to the total value. And then it also defines what are called excessive collections and also allows them to do some things to reduce those as well. So it doesn't take anything away, but it gives some authority to the county commissioner and the county budget commissions to look critically at some folks that have levies and say, "Are you sure you need that?" So for us, I'm not worried at all. I'd be happy to sit down with our county budget commission and say, here's why we need every single dollar from our levy. So if that goes through, I would say out of all the budgets or all the bills that have been proposed, this one has the most traction at this point, and I can definitely live with this myself. And then I just want to say something very quickly about the continuing government shutdown at the federal level. You heard we had people sitting in this room impacted by it. I know it has impacted quite a few people. Some numbers for you. Of course, I'm going to look at the CDC. This past weekend, they all got whiplash because in the last week, about 1,300 people were laid off, not furloughed, laid off as part of this. And then about 700 were called back at the beginning of this week. And that doesn't sound like a fun place to be for our CDC friends. But if you look across the entire year, this uncontrolled experiment of laying people off and seeing what breaks and then calling them back with no strategic plan for our nation's health long-term, it's not sustainable. 50% budget cuts across the CDC and HHS in areas that are so critical to our health. 1 in 3 CDC employees has been laid off at some point in time since January. 1 in 3. Again, I'm calling it what it is. It's no vision beyond destruction, in my opinion now, if anyone's asking. So I just continue to think about our federal friends and the programs that are being paused that do impact us. Be happy to take any questions. That was all 9 things. I did it fairly quickly. So.
Nicely done, thank you, we appreciate that. Are there any questions for Mr. Cook? Okay, so the next item on our agenda is executive session. I don't see any reason for us to do that. So, no executive session today. Moving on to additional business. Anything that you guys want to bring up? Okay. Then our next meeting will be November the 20th, 2025. Okay, if everybody is in agreement, we will adjourn this meeting. Can I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
If you're correct. This meeting is adjourned. Oh, do we have to have a vote?
Everybody say aye.
Vote. Okay. All in favor say.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay.
Kidding. I have to do it. I have to do it.
You are so wise.